Namaste, Swagatam. Welcome. I'm deeply grateful to all of you, dear grandparents, parents, professionals, children, who are taking time out to contribute to the education, to the conceptual drive that Victoria's kids, Educares, received the message long time ago in meditation. And we are so grateful to you as parent, to you as teacher, and to you particularly our bubbly, budding, brilliant, genius children coming up. We could not even think of it in our days beyond standing maybe first in the topic, first in the class, maybe very rarely first in the school, or once in a while first in a state or district. Could not think about topping the country, topping the world. And even if those who did think about topping the country did not think about topping the world, in terms of whatever disciplines we took up for our excellence, either academics or studies. And that was primarily firstly, the spiritual wealth was lacking. The conceptual education with which we were introduced to our world of education was a copy of the English-British education. You remember the Cambridge education, and then it went on, and our Indian whole CBSE, SSE and ICSE and RGCSE were a copy of that. And we took great pride, and we forgot the vehicle of the rich heritage of Indian education system. And the vehicle of that was language Sanskrit, and Sanskrit was taken away almost from our country's education system. And the English became the country's education. And today, we are delighted to see, continuing with the English and the education and bringing in French and German and Spanish and Japanese and Sanskrit and Hindi and English, and yet, but the concept, the core seed of believing in our own self is the essence of Vedanta, of the knowledge driven, knowing who am I, what can I do. I see today our children are really breaking, shattering all records, and you, parent, grandparent, children, you're noticing it. Your colleagues are breaking the world record, standing, topping world toppers ranks. It's a beautiful power which is hidden within you. Today, my message to each one of you, we wish to keep on exchanging as we dwell. I am continuing to search and share with you in terms of our talk, in terms of this virtual time. Notice the powerful time is the time we have been placed suddenly. There is hostility, there is terrorism going on, there is degradation of the nature and the power of the nature and the resources of water and the deforestation taking place, and the garbage is being dumped into, absolutely thoughtlessly by people where the population is pretty heavy like we are in India. Each one of us had to. I'm delighted to see that our children are growing ahead, not only just making world record, they're growing ahead and excelling in the field of sports, into the world sports arena, not just India, also in India, and going into the world. Quite a few of your champions are doing that. And they're going in terms of skills of various, like designing, like writing, like various, the conceptual understanding of the science and engineering and designing in the digital world, going into, these are the kids, C++ and robotics at a very, very young age, designing of their website and Photoshop and CorelDRAW and animation. And even I never had it. Even today I know nothing about it. So, today's message is, infinite is the possibility if you only get connected to who you are. And this concept of getting connected, we lost it through our earlier education system, in which there was the cramming of enormous amount of information and the memory skills and application of formulae to a problem was the general trend of education. And whoever could remember more could score better and stood first or second or something. Today is another world. And in this world of varieties of problems oriented, including the COVID, which is as suddenly is placing us to how fragile is the human life, it's putting us like a World War III situation. But amongst which there is a beautiful message, and that message is the power of the digitization. Today, this information technology, IT, you all would be surprised to know if I ask most people what, as per the ancient Indian Yuga system is going on, and everybody will say it's Kali Yuga. You would be amazed to hear that as per the Upanishads and the sciences of the Vedanta given to us, it is Dwapar Yuga from 1595 onwards. And notice from the 1595 onwards, all the discoveries that you look at it, whether forces of gravity, or let's say the earth is round, or electricity, or Graham Bell, or Galileo, Copernicus, every one of them, either Newton, Einstein, is beyond 1595, 16th century. They are all 16 to 17 with the majority of the discoveries. In the advent of the Dwapar Yuga, that information technology is looming up and rapidly changing today. And our kids are becoming specialists in that. And this specialization and going into the world ranking and the world performance from a tiny school in Pune city is only for one thing, is what I'm perceiving today. And I can see it, is our children getting connected to who they are. They're realizing, I can. And that's the only difference in this school. And how is it coming? It is coming because of the International Baccalaureate, which is talking about the conceptual education through inquiry, and the Vedanta, which is coupled together. And notice, it is not a place, it is not time, it is called knowledge. Knowledge-based learning, inquiry-based journey. And with these both together, the Vedanta is taking our children across. Unknowingly, there is no religion. It is pure spirituality of knowing what the human consciousness value is. Look at, there's a beautiful talk went on a few weeks ago, and that is Xavier Cooney. Xavier Cooney, he is a Harvard professor, a faculty member, and he is doing this talk in the School of Divinity in the Harvard, and talking about Vedanta. And he said Vedanta for 21st century. Notice, he's not talking about Vedanta in the 1st century or 10th century or 19th century. He's talking about for 21st century, today, and in which he's talking about Vedanta has the answer, and we should richly get back to our ancient. And this Dr. Xavier Cooney, he is taking sessions on Vedanta, on Bhagavad Gita, on Panchadasi. This is all forgotten by us today, Indians, and it is being studied around in the world. We Indians have forgotten. I'm delighted that you and I could get the opportunity, a message to know a little bit about Vedanta. And Vedanta is the way of telling, how do you tap into this faculty of this essential human element within us? How do you do that? Is through purity, character. And that character is, supposing I want truth, people to tell truth to me, not cheat me, not deceive me. My partner should always speak the truth as husband of the wife, my parent, my children, my colleagues, my friends. I have to speak the truth. So notice in big bold letter everywhere, and the conceptually we're talking all the time, without pushing, without, like in our days, if we told a lie, we were given one slap. No, parents, you will be remembering. Again, you are telling lies? Not now. We just put up a big signboard and tell us the value. Satyameva Jayate is from Vedanta, Mandukya Upanishad, second sutra. It's talking about truth shall always win. So if I hold on to the truth and disseminate truth, truth will come back to us, is the message of the Vedanta, is the true knowledge. Cooney is talking and teaching Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita today. Today, there's a beautiful message. Swami Sarva Priyananda, he was talking in the same School of Divinity in the Harvard and carrying the message. He is talking about Neil Bohr, one of the top physicists, who said that if you are not shocked by quantum physics, then you have not understood quantum mechanics at all. And this quantum physics came down to us, if you remember, Hessinger, Einstein, they discovered it. And this quantum physics is the one he's talking about. If you're not shocked by it, who, an Indian Swami, a great speaker, orator, he's been invited to the World Religion Conference like Swami Vivekananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, he's being invited there. He's talking at the Harvard and he's saying, just like if you're not, quoting Neil Bohr, that if you are not shocked by quantum, he's talking about similarly, Ankur Barua, he is another great philosopher. He's talking about Indian philosophy in Oxford in the United States, across Harvard, across the pond. He's talking about Ankur Barua. He is an Indian, Bengali. He's talking about, if you are not shocked by Vedanta, you have not understood Vedanta at all. So the moment we get onto it, it's a beautiful journey. I invite you, I excite you. I am excited today. I see our children are excited. They're not realizing it. They're not realizing it. Most of the teachers are not realizing, and most of us think, I did it. I have done it. I worked hard. Sure they have. Sure they have purified themselves. That intensely have focused their concentration on the power, but the whole thing is started off because of the energy of truth, energy of purity, energy of viveka. Viveka is knowing what is right, what is not right. I cannot jump the traffic light. I have to pay the income tax. These are being righteous. I cannot do wrong. If somebody comes and asks me something, maybe my time, maybe to say hello, maybe some money, maybe my love and affection, I must give it to them. What is the Vedanta saying? If you want truth in your life, give truth to people. What is Vedanta saying? If you want knowledge in your life, if you want knowledge, you have to give knowledge. Jnanam danina vartate. Give. If you want love in your life, all of us want love, isn't it? We crave for love. You have to give love. We grew up believing what? If somebody loves me and I find his love or her love is really genuine, she really loves me or he loves, then I will love her. It is not that way. You have to give. So Mother Teresa, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Mahavir Jain, Guru Nanak, Guru Govind, Paramahansa, Vivekananda, they are doing what? You first. Swami Ranganathananda, the great president of the Ramakrishna order in the monk ashram, You know what he's saying in his talk to Oxford in the United States? He says, when I close my eyes, I see the power within, the light within, that I have the power. And when I open my eyes, I look at you and ask you, what is it that I can do for you? Notice this is what is the talk through the IB. Caring, principle, academic honesty, risk taker. Aren't they the similar line? And notice this is how beautifully Vedanta's concept and the IB, they marry so well. Vedanta is talking give. You want lots of money? Everybody wants lots of money, isn't it? Give money first. You want a company to be successful? Krishnamurti, very famous Infosys. What did he say? He said, first I must make my people successful. I have to give success to them. Success will come to the company. And this is what children, you and I need to learn. In the quantum physics, what is it talking about? If you base it, just the grounding, how everything can be made possible. So the message today is, if you break down anything, what are we racing for? Things. Power, muscle, great body, no sickness, no corona, and money and property and look good and great clothes and car and houses, etc. and perfect relationship. What are those things? Object. As per Vedanta, whatever you call this is an object. So this paper is an object. It is. This computer is an object. My hand, the light is reflecting on it, is an object. These are gross object, material object. There are non-material, fine object also, like thoughts, like love, like analysis, like memory, like reflection, like gratitude, also like hatred and jealousy and greed and small-mindedness and pettiness. And what is in the quantum physics, quantum mechanics is going on to explain? If you break down anything, man's body, woman's body, a material, a computer, a car, it comes down to last to atoms. Break down further. Now from atoms it is come down to particles now. You can't see an atom, but look at the power of an atom bomb just to the fusion and the fission. So the Vedanta, what it talked about, quantum physics is talking about that if you break down that atom, what is it? Nuclear, proton, all of you know about it. An electron, right? If you break down further, subatomic particle, and they come down with meson, boson, electric, cryon, like that. Boson was discovered by Dr. Jagadish Chandra Bose of India and is named after him. Now when you break them down further, they go down to further than the subatomic particle comes information, quantum physics telling us. And something else, two things, information and energy. That's the energy which can blast Pune city today if we do a nuclear bomb fusion or fission over here. So what is it? Enormous energy and information. Now, gold information is different than diamond information, if we all know all that chemical theory, the numbers. Look, same is, let's say, Julia Roberts, Aishwarya Rai is different than Shah Rukh Khan or let's say George Bush. They're different. Information is different. Energy is constant. What does laws of thermodynamics say? Energy cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. So energy is always there, everywhere. That energy, as per quantum, You tap into it. How? By creating information. How? Through meditation, focusing your mind, through just thinking. I can't do meditation? Alright. But at least reflect. Adi is talking about reflection. Reflect, think, focus your mind, concentrate. Easy way as per the ancient India and the Vedanta, sit still. Look at an example. Ocean filled with waves and small waves and bubbles and froths and smaller waves and bigger waves and bigger waves and tsunami waves. Huge energy. It is what? Restless, continuously moving. So what happens to a wave? When it comes down and slams into the shore, it dies and it goes back and again becomes a wave. Notice you and I, as per Vedanta, we are like the waves, and this ocean is part of something. That's something we are neglecting. You go to Goa and Cape Comorin or Pacific or Atlantic Ocean and some beaches. You see huge waves, you see the ocean, and you say it is this ocean and that ocean. But you and I are forgetting it's the water which is the wave, which is the ocean, which is the bubble. And when it dies, slams onto the shore, it goes back again and it becomes water, and then it becomes wave in the forms and etc. Same thing is, just like the water, just like, remember our earlier conversation, a clay pot. Have you noticed? All the ancient civilizations, when you go and discover Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Mayan, what are you discovering? Broken down clay pots, but they are not destroyed. Can't get destroyed. When you bake the clay, it cannot be destroyed, but the clay itself, without broken, without baked, you made a clay pot. You have not baked it. You can remold the clay into something else. So this is a shape. A clay pot is a shape which the clay is given. Now, this is the clay pot. The pot I am holding. Where is the pot? Here. You say, can't I see it? I can see it. It's there. I said, sure. Where is the clay? You say, in the pot. I say, okay, remember our earlier example. I say, okay, sir. Okay, ma'am. You take the clay pot. I take the clay. You take the pot. Because you and I think the form is everything. You and I think the wave and the ocean is everything. We are forgetting the water. We are forgetting the clay. The clay is everything. I can reshape the clay into another, maybe a plate, maybe a vase. My choice, as long as I have not baked it. It is changeable in the form. But the clay cannot be changed. Water is constant. As when the earth started, remember our study, the water cycle has not changed even one drop. It's the same content of the water. Difficult to believe, no? Get back to the water cycle again, you will remember it. Clay cannot change. Same thing, children, or to your parents. If you want your company or own life to be successful, tap into that which is within us we have forgotten. We are very conscious of our body, conscious of our name, conscious about what we do. Vedanta language, Nama, Rupa, Vabhara. Western language, English language, the name, form and action. But we are forgetting something. It's the consciousness. And this is what is Cooney in Harvard is talking about. This is what Swami Sarva Priyananda in that Harvard talked about. I'll give you one point and focus on that consciousness, the power of the consciousness, the power of the, notice, whatever you're doing, listening, learning, thinking, going ahead and creating, writing, doing things, chores, getting a degree, or making things. It's all because of the consciousness. If you are not conscious, if you're in coma, you can't do it. If you're unconscious, you can't do it. And if you're dead, it is zero consciousness. If you're weakened state, but absent-minded, less. And in the classroom, remember, we used to be quite absent-minded, mind used to race somewhere else. But when you do this, get connected with purity, with truth. This is the message for our children. Hold on to character. If you do the character, the data management, all the results, everything else, the money, the name, the job, the appointments, perfect relationship will come sailing through. No one can take it away from us. So, consciousness. And that, the first message was consciousness. David Chalmers, an Australian, he's in NYU, New York, University of New York. He is looking after these hard problems of consciousness. He's written many books. Today, we have done lots of research on brain, lots of research on the various body and the life mechanism. But strangely, consciousness is not. Matter, we have dealt a lot. Consciousness, we have not. So, the Australian philosopher, David Chalmers, is talking about the hard problem of consciousness, of not understanding, not knowing. And he's going on to say something very beautiful. He's saying, there is no hard problem of consciousness. The hard problem is of matter. And if you look, what does he mean by that? The matter actually, when you break it down, it goes on to information, which is what? Is part of the consciousness. The consciousness is empowering that with the energy, and we shall get onto it more of the Vedanta science. Today our message is into this world. Learn to tap into it with your focus, living life with purity, truth, kindness, love, harmony, joy, bliss, and you will see how beautifully the life is changing. So what is it? In the International Baccalaureate way of education, it is not bugging up. It is concentrating on inquiry, challenging, discovering, developing your own faculties and being powered by the consciousness. And in the Vedanta concept of education is find out who am I, and the knowledge, being aware of me, myself, and the power, being aware of that same consciousness is in everyone, being kind to that everyone. This is why, let's say, those of you Christian, Jesus Christ said, love thy neighbor. Why love thy neighbor? Notice every religion is talking about. Islam is talking about whenever your celebrations are, that give 40% of your own money to the people. Hinduism is talking about dhanam. If you give, everything increases. This is what the message. So, why? Because honor that consciousness in the people. This consciousness is the only thing which gives you a first-person experience. You go to the airport door opens. It has experienced you, it has seen you through the electronic eye. You put your hand in front of the tap and the water starts to flow. It has experienced your presence. Look at the Google car and you are driving a car. Google Talk today in many cities, particularly in LA, it is going around very well. And let's say you're driving your car and Google Talk, and there in the traffic light point, you suddenly look to the right and you see a car without a driver. That car is doing exactly everything as you're doing, maybe much better. But it doesn't have a first-person experience, which you have. And that is the hard problem of the consciousness, what David Chalmers is talking about. My request is I invite you all to delve into it. This power of the inquiry-based learning, of the knowledge-based, truth-based, character-based Vedanta. Search, find, make it your own, and just watch. I can today see it with absolute clarity. These great successes that you are reading every day in the Times of India newspaper, including today's newspaper, right in the headline, right on the top of the head, on the page 4 of the Times of India, it's talking about our champion Tasneem has gone ahead and just be one shot of the world topper mark, 44 out of 45. We have talked about it before, but today's paper is reflecting on it. You and I could never think about our name being in the newspaper once in a while, but we thought about becoming a world cricket player, becoming a world badminton tennis champion. We thought about becoming world beauty champion, but we hardly thought about becoming a perfect human being and excelling in, especially, what is our journey today? Is excelling in what yours and my child is doing in the school, is the knowledge-based learning, and develop a solid foundation for tomorrow's success. And for you, for your success, those of you running through whatever difficulties, including health, including finance, including relationship, tap into it. If you want, I am always available. Come and sit with me. We shall talk. I'll show you a way. And there is a way. It's a beautiful success. Holding on to success is through character. I wish you a good luck. Have a beautiful day. And let's see. Do you know something? Today morning I discovered that there is a great research going on in the world today, in the Western world, American world, and they're writing a book. And you know what is it about? A book on ignorance. I was quite amazed. And doing a little study, and you know what? Surprise! I found 5,000 years ago in India, in Vedas, they talked about hours of research work on avidya, same as ignorance, avidya. So it is all there in India. Learn it. Whether I am an Indian or a foreigner, it's not important. Important is I am a human being. And we respect all religion, all practices. We believe in humanity. We believe in the human great qualities. With my very special prayers for you, for your parents, for your children, for your colleagues, for your subordinate, for those who are suffering, for those who are weak, for those who need. Go ahead and help them. And let us see what we can do to change. India is shooting ahead. India is going ahead to be the #1 as per Wikipedia, as what Vivekananda talked about, as what is written in Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 2, verse 31, page 246, Bhagavad Gita, which is written by Paramahansa Yogananda. God talks with Arjuna. In that Bhagavad Gita, page 246, chapter 2, verse 31, it's written, India the conquered would conquer her conquerors in the 21st century. India is shooting ahead. And who said? You would be surprised. A Westerner, an American. Welcome to this world.